Hey, it's Mike. Thanks for tuning back in. So I wanted to get something done quickly. I haven't really done a good deep dive into a vintage set in a while, and I thought the 1911 through 14 Brunners Brunners Bread / General Baking Co. set would be a good start. First of all, here's today's pickup. Donruss the Rookies, Tim Wakefield autographed. This one I want to send off to PSA DNA. I'm going to start the registry of 2004 Red Sox rookie autographs, PSA. So that should be fun. I have half of them at least autographed already, so I just need to get those slabbed in PSA DNA, and then I'll start the registry. So 1911 through 14 Brunners. It's classified in the American Card Catalog as D304 General Baking Set. A lot of the information I collected today comes from allvintagecards.com. There's also prewarcards.com, some great resources out there when you're trying to learn about vintage cards and pre-war cards. So these cards are a little bit larger than the other baking sets of the time and tobacco and caramel sets. They were 1 3/4 inches by 2.5 inches. So they're a little bit more, they're pretty popular for the era. They're obviously not quite T206, but there's also not the same supply of these cards. And we'll get to supply here in a minute. Like T206 and others of the era, there are multiple backs. There are 5 different backs of these. There's the Brunners Bread, General Baking, Buttercrust, Weber Bakery, and Martin's Bakery. All of them, the cards were inserted into loaves of bread back in those days. So you can imagine getting, I assume 1 with each loaf. I couldn't quite figure out, based on my research, how many were in each loaf. So I'm assuming 1. They were issued between 1911 and 1914, so only a few years. They are art cards, and some of them really differ in the quality of the art. So for instance, the Ty Cobb is beautiful, bears a striking resemblance to Ty Cobb, whereas the Nap Lajoie and the Hannes Wagner do not bear resemblance to those players at all. And it's almost like 2 different artists did the art for each of these cards. Very unusual. The name of the player is on the bottom along with the player team, and the team is blacked out if that player was traded. So they didn't update the card, they didn't do anything other than blacking out the team if that player got traded during the season or in the off season. There's only a handful of them that have the team name blacked out. And unlike other sets of the era, the images were not reused. So these images that are in these cards, or the art, was only used in this one set. It wasn't passed along to a different set or a related set or anything like that. So pretty interesting. You got to be really careful of reprints on eBay, counterfeits, of course, with aged reproduction. It's very common, and allvintagecards.com does a nice breakdown of how to tell the difference between certain cards. So for instance, the Christy Mathewson, he has a red sleeve on one of his arms, and in the fake one, the counterfeit, the red sleeve is fully colored in, whereas in the real one, there's a little line missing next to the jersey that you can see. In most of the fakes, the backs are darker than in the real ones, which is, you wouldn't think that would be the case, but in the real ones, the backs are actually lighter. There are some other ways to tell. I encourage you to go to allvintagecards.com to check out how to tell the fakes apart if you're planning on buying any of these ungraded, unauthenticated. You can get them on eBay. You just got to be very careful. You can buy them graded. They're just quite expensive, of course, as you might expect. Ironically, where this is a baking set, you've got Frank Home Run Baker is on one of the cards. I thought that was kind of fun. In terms of the sets, Brunners is the only of the 5 backs to have all 25 cards, the only one that's known to have all 25 cards in the set. The other ones, I guess you assume that all 25 are in the set, but nobody has found all 25 of them with the 5 backs, except of Brunners. Hard to find some sales in this. There are only 499 graded by PSA in the entire set. So you have 25 players in the set with 5 cards. There are 125 different cards. So on average, there are only 4 cards per player graded by PSA. Pretty interesting. The Ty Cobb PSA 5 sold in 2012 for $24,000. Hasn't sold since then. A 6 sold in 2015 for $31,000. Hasn't sold since then. Honus Wagner PSA 8 sold for $79,000 in 2008. Hasn't sold, at least not publicly. None of these have sold since 2008. There is one autographed card from this set. It's Rube Marquard. He died in 1980, so it's really interesting that somebody had the foresight to get his card autographed. I couldn't find it anywhere, couldn't find an image of it, but I want it. Anyway, if you're new here, please click that the subscribe button. I'll have another Attic Find Friday out on Friday, of course. And Saturday, I'm on Hobby Hotline on Bench Clear Media, so come and check that out. All right, thanks very much for watching.